本节目由独家出行合作伙伴腾势汽车赞助播出。
This factory is amazing. I've never been to a factory like this before where, many factories I've been to is a reflection of practicality, right? It's about industrialism and about making things, but not necessarily incorporating aesthetics or even sustainability like this.
This factory is a project of the famous Italian architect Guido Canali, who started his collaboration with our brand a long time ago. In 1990, the owners of the company, Mr. Bertelli and Mrs. Miuccia Prada, decided to appoint the architect as designer of this building. And here in this factory, we can find the most important principles of the architecture of Mr. Canali. First of all, a perfect integration between building and natural surroundings. Looking to a perfect harmony between nature, work, and design. This is one of the most important principles that we can find in his architecture. The scope of the architect is to give a message, which is that we can create big size building, big size factories, also with modern technologies, but well integrated in natural surroundings. I attended to the construction of this building since 2010, and the conclusion of works were in 2017. Works stopped twice during the construction. First time during a World Trade Center attack, and the second during a real estate bubble. At the end, in 2017, works concluded, and about 700 employees were moved from factories here around inside this building. You can see green everywhere here around. And it's not only an aesthetic element, but it's a part of the building itself. The architect plays with the green, and and also other natural elements such as water, and they use this element also as functional elements. The facade of this block, which is the office block of the building, the greenery is used as a natural curtain on the facade.
Like a sunshade, yeah?
Exactly, exactly. It's a natural curtain which filters the sunlight inside the building. The architect was able to reduce the cost for cooling the building during a hot season. Here at the entrance, we have this pool. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is not only an aesthetic element, but the architect used this pool and the water as thermal heat exchanger in order to warm and cooling the building during the hot and cold season. Thanks to this solution, the architect and the engineers were able to reduce the cost of energies for cooling and warming the building.
So is it a passive system or is it an active system? Is there water flowing through the building or is it just...
It's a passive system.
Okay.
Another important solution is that the architect used this big concrete block in order to fit all MIP of the factory, electric and mechanical system. Usually these systems are located inside the building or on the top of the roof of the building. But in this project, the architect decided to fit this system out of the building in order to free as much as possible space inside the building itself.
So this entire block serves
exactly.
the mechanical
We can
function
find mechanical, electrical, and special system functions. And thanks to that steel blades, systems enter inside the building. And this smart solution has a final result to free the space inside the building, obtaining a very flexible layout. And this is very important for our company. So we can adjust or modify the internal layout of the factory basing on the
function,
exactly,
right.
correct.
Change over time, right?
Correct.
Right.
We can go up and have a look from the top.
Okay.
And you can feel the difference of noise between ground floor and the top of this block. So it's also an acoustic barrier.
A lot of clever solutions.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
You can see that greenery also here is everywhere here around. And you can see in your left the main block of the building, which are factory, which are warehouse at the ground floor, and production laboratories at first floor. He was able to obtain 4 big gardens on the top of the first floor. Exactly.
So created opportunities to make more gardens.
The construction of these gardens was really very challenging because you have to think that immediately below we have our raw material warehouse. So the technology used to obtain waterproof was really
Very challenging.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want water leaking down into the factory.
Exactly.
And even this awning is a green roof awning here.
If you think about this structure in spring season, the aesthetic is amazing because it's full of color and the effect is really very natural. You can also see from this point the greenery, which is growing up on the structure, steel structure of that corner.
Yeah, there's a clear symbiosis between the green and the building. And it almost looks like nature is taking back the building in some ways. It's clear that you have a very strong strategy towards sustainability here. Can you talk about what the corporate strategy is for Prada here?
I work directly with Lorenzo Bertelli, the son of Mrs. Prada, Mrs. Miuccia Prada, and Mr. Patrizio Bertelli. And together with him, back in 2021, we developed, and we had a vision, we developed a strategy, a corporate strategy on sustainability that develops around 3 pillars. Which are planet, people, and culture.
Planet, people, and culture, okay.
Yeah, under the planet pillar, we committed to climate change mitigation, biodiversity protection, and circularity. Under the people pillar, we are very much committed now in diversity and inclusion, in protection, and pass into 2 next generations of our artisanal skills and in building a fair workplace for everyone to work in. And under the cultural pillar, we are very much committed in support a cultural debate around sustainability. And I have to say that while the planet and the people are present in every sustainability strategy for everyone, the culture, we decided to go for a 3rd pillar, focusing on culture, because culture is part of the DNA of the group. probably Fondazione Prada and all the work that the family is doing, in supporting the cultural debate and culture in general at international level. So we decided that it could be a very, strategic pillar for us to develop.
It's a very interesting strategy because it's global, macro, all the way down to the micro, right?
Yeah.
So you're working about helping to save the planet,
yeah.
but you're also creating an environment for your employees
Yeah.
on the human scale level that is, they're not just workers, they're people here that need to live a good life, right? And so providing this kind of environment for them makes them happier workers and makes them better workers, I think.
Yes.
When I first came in, I can see many employees out in these spaces enjoying the space, absorbing that energy and then going back into work.
We have also a lot of fruit.
Oh, really?
Yes, trees. So our employees benefit of that. In the canteen, they cook, cakes made of our fruits. And they pick sometimes the fruit to take home with them when there is abundance of fruits.
It's a big effort to become sustainable, to be a large global company, but to have sustainable philosophies. And it also requires the executive level from the very top because it costs a lot of money to do things like this.
Yes.
It costs a lot of effort to do things like this.
Yeah.
Talk about how, Miucci Prada and her son came up with this idea. Why did they think sustainability was so important?
Because it's not anymore a choice, it's compulsory, and they really believe in this. Lorenzo Bertelli is a very young man, really passionate about sustainability issues. They really believe that, to be to stay on the market for a long time, to create value on the long term, you need to address the sustainability challenges. It's true, it costs money, but you have to see this as an investment that you will have, the return in maybe 5-10 years, but it's not anymore a choice. I mean, if you want to stay on the market and to be competitive in the future.
It is for us to work on our production. And it's not what you see here in this beautiful site, but what is related to the production and the manufacturing of our products along the different supply chains. So we aim to take care of the environmental impacts upstreams in the supply chain,
so
up to the origin of the raw materials. And how we do that? We have, from one side, targets that are coming out of our strategy, for example, the reduction of our greenhouse gases emissions. And then within my team, we develop strategies, programs, projects to work with the different actors in order to reach that target. Because we measure what we emit.
Right.
And we measure not just here, but we measure also with our suppliers and in the different places of where the raw materials origin. And then we decide how to reduce. And sometimes the reduction is through changing material, choosing a lower impact ones, because we talk about leather, we talk about cotton, we talk about wool, synthetic fibers, for example, the re-nylon, so what you are wearing. It is this interaction between innovation and creativity, because we wanted to change, so we needed the technicians to reproduce the same fabric and also the creativity to think how to use it. Here we are in one of the different areas in this building where our products get into life. So we receive here the sketches from the designers, so their idea brought to paper, and we started to sampling. So it means that from this we will arrive to that product.
The final product. I love how it starts with a hand sketch.
Yes.
I think in high technology now, everybody uses computers but I like how this is done by
we do
hand.
both, and it starts really with the hand.
Yes, yes.
And then we start to develop the product, deciding the materials, deciding the dimension. And our technicians produce from this what we call the different parts. So the handbags is cut
Yes.
in different
pieces.
parts and then assembled. This is the first step, I would say, to come into industrialization, because from this then we define, and this is a bill of materials, for example, we define all the different components of the bag and the need for different materials, might be linings, leather, metal hardware. And here we have everything is sort of a list to go to buy, and then you see everything here.
So this list allows you to know how to source the materials, what materials to use, and then how to put it together. Yeah.
Yes. When we launch the production, it will be something, a multiple of this in terms of quantity.
Right. So it's very similar to architecture with the plans and the construction documents. Yes.
And what we do from this is, as you see, to cut the different pieces. For example, these are the two parts of the bags.
The sides, right?
This is the bottom of the bag, what we sew inside.
Yes.
These are the
sides,
the ankles, and this is the internal linings. So the first part will be like this. You see, it's it's just the outside,
Right.
with the two parts of the linings. It still misses the bottom. With the rest, you arrive to that part.
The final product.
Yes, the final product, please, which is a very nice product and
Beautiful and
also very similar to this. Sometimes it's not so similar, but it is.
Not too far off.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful.
Because it's an interaction between what we see here and what we produce, and there is a continuous discussion with the designers, because they must feel and see what they had in mind.
Yes.
And here it's very skilled people, because it's difficult. You have to be very, very good.
Precise, yeah.
Precise, because it's the first time. So this.
So they're all assembling the bags here, right?
Exactly. And this is the part of leather goods of Prada. Then we have the same for Miu Miu, and then also for the other product categories like shoes, ready-to-wear, jewelry. So it starts in a similar way.
Okay, so everything that Prada produces is done in this factory?
Not everything. Okay. This is, we take care that the first product is the sample for everything. And then we have many laboratories that are owned by Prada but are not here, are here around.
Okay.
Plus, we use external suppliers that are bond to us. We have very long-lasting relationships with them because we have to take care of the quality.
Quality control,
also.
yes.
And here is also because the Italian craftsmanship. So it's also something that we want to preserve.
Famous, yes.
Yes, exactly.
From today, I've learned so much about the Prada Group, but more than just about fashion and design, but how you are contributing as a corporation to help our environment, help our planet. I have a child. I have a 12-year-old child, and I worry often about what the world's going to be like when we hand it off to them. And so to see companies like this doing this kind of work is makes me happy.
Queste non sono opere, sono resti in alcuni casi di opere, vede colonne, una vasca in porfido, ma sono qui perché sono materia prima, il materiale che a partire dal 1580 gli artigiani e gli artisti che lavoravano per il Granducato utilizzavano per realizzare oggetti straordinari. Nel Cinquecento non erano restauratori, erano artisti e artigiani che realizzavano oggetti come quelli che avete visto al museo.
Nel Cinquecento?
Nel Cinquecento fino al 1860, di vari posti. Il porfido, questo viola, che vede anche lì, probabilmente viene da Roma. Monumenti romani. Lì vede granito di Corsica. Sono pietre che vengono dalla Corsica, in altri casi dalla Sicilia. Abbiamo pietre che vengono da giacimenti o miniere ora chiuse e scomparse, dall'India anche.
E vengono trasportate qui per essere restaurate e poi restituite?
No. Queste venivano portate qui perché con queste pietre si realizzavano tavoli, raffigurazioni, ritratti, opere d'arte. Venivano affettate, tagliate e diventavano dei dipinti eterni. Il restauro è arrivato in questo luogo a fine Ottocento, quando la corte toscana è scomparsa e non c'era più chi comprava questi oggetti meravigliosi e costosissimi. Gli artigiani bravissimi a questo punto sono stati indirizzati al restauro, non più a realizzare oggetti, ma a restaurare mosaici, tavoli, sculture in pietra, sculture in bronzo.
所以这些是可以说是人材料，然后他比如说要用红色的那个石头，在一个比如说 mosaic 里面，他们会拿那些来做吗？
Quindi sono dei materiali effettivamente che vengono utilizzati.
Prima. Questi però sono troppo antichi e preziosi e restano qui.
So these are pieces of stone that will be used for restoration.
Questo è un campionario di pietre antiche che servivano per studiare e scegliere i materiali per realizzare le opere. Per esempio, lì vediamo il porfido rosso che abbiamo visto, la vasca.
The red color, right?
Yes.
So these are also ancient pieces of they're not new pieces, but old pieces.
No, old pieces. Queste sono qui dal 1850 e sono collocate anche per mostrare agli artigiani i colori, che rosso incredibile, questo verde come l'acqua del mare, perché li usavano per realizzare raffigurazioni, immagini.
So these stones become a color palette to make the art.
Esattamente.
Yes, right. So when you're restoring a piece, let's say a mosaic, you have to look at the pieces and what colors and what kind of stone was used in the mosaic. Then you come back here and see, it was Amazonite or red Digetto. What is that? Digetto, right? So you come here to look at the palette and then use these to restore the piece, is it?
Esattamente, exactly. E in alcuni casi noi usiamo le pietre che ancora possediamo nelle nostre riserve per completare quello che manca. Queste pietre venivano lavorate su questi banchi. Questo è il banco per tagliare, affettare l'archetto. Veniva tenuto così e mosso avanti e indietro
这个工具是切石头的。
tagliare anche le pietre più dure.
So these are antique tools as well, right? When did they stop using? When did you stop using these tools?
In 1910.
Okay, turn of the century. And then we had electricity and power tools and then become changed, right?
Sì.
And are all these pieces of stone native to Italy or they come from different places of the world?
Da diversi paesi. Questi vengono dalla Francia, per esempio. Alcuni, questo, Siberia.
Oh, Siberia, wow.
Sì. C'era una ricca conoscenza delle miniere e le pietre arrivavano al porto di Livorno da tutte le parti del mondo.
So this also represents Italy at the time, how globalized they were, pieces coming from everywhere to make Italian art, right?
In qualche modo sì, però noi dobbiamo immaginare i secoli passati molto più globalizzati di quello che pensiamo. Pensate alla seta, arrivava fino in Occidente attraversando tutta l'Asia. La cultura italiana è fatta di tanti legami con tante culture lontane. Questa è un'agata che viene dall'Oriente, ha un colore bellissimo. Tutte queste sono orientali e Oriente vuol dire dall'Armenia andando a est.
So all these things were traded from the Silk Road and ended up in Italy, okay.
Facciamo il giro così, questi sono i colori più preziosi. Il lapislazzolo che aveva anche l'oro dentro veniva anche macinato per dipingere. Sì, tritato, pestato e le figure più importanti, più sacre, avevano il manto in lapislazzolo. Parlano loro? Vai.
Stiamo modificando la struttura della mano, come si faceva nelle costruzioni statuarie in cera in antichità, dove solitamente appunto da un modello, come in questo caso, per praticità poi si può modificare scaldando la cera e appunto dargli un'altra forma, un altro tipo di impostazione in base a quello che appunto uno poi vuole rappresentare su.
所以这个手是从哪儿来的？
È il calco di una mano reale.
就是一个手，
哦，真手，
一个真手。
哦，所以不是一个雕塑的手。So where this is the original, the mold,
Yeah, is the mold. Yes.
and then you do the wax
Out
out of this mold, right?
Two pieces together.
And then now you're fixing the details on the wax.
Yeah, we can also modify the fingers.
And so this is like practicing for actually fixing something real, right?
Yeah, it's just for starting
Uh-huh.
how they did it before. We don't do it actually, but
I see.
it's to study the old technique.
So for understanding the old methods of
Yeah.
making sculpture, I see. Okay.
Esattamente. Gli studenti devono conoscere perfettamente come si facevano in antico le opere. Così capiscono come intervenire per restaurarle. Il percorso è così: conoscenza tecniche antiche, conoscenza della tecnica dei materiali, chimica, fisica, conoscenza della storia dell'arte.
Why you're very young? I want to know why you want to learn these methods, these older methods.
We wanted to study restoration, and so to understand everything that has happened to the to the piece, we have to understand all techniques. But we started studying here mainly because we love art.
Okay.
So we'd like to preserve everything we have.
And being Italian, is that something very important to you for the history of your country, right? It's the culture of your... Is this something that you discovered very young or recently?
No, recently we finished high school and then we came here.
The teacher is here.
Oh, hello. So yeah, maybe you can explain this process of learning.
It's very important for us to know how they were made back in the day, because in many cases you find defects or some aspects that are very closely related to the methods. And if you know how they were made, you can understand why you had these issues.
Sure.
And so that's why it's very important for us to show them and to have them try also the techniques.
So in some ways it's a reverse engineering,
Yeah,
right? Yes.
Exactly. Even because, especially for this kind of materials, ancient statues and such, we don't know exactly how they were made, and what we know had been understood, like reverse engineering. So studying the originals, trying to replicate them, and see which is the method that works better.
And these students now, when do they get to a level where they can start restoring real pieces?
They already restore original things.
Okay.
So they do some studying about like this one. At the same time, they work on the original, so they can compare at the same time the techniques and the methods. And they work on different materials also, so they have to do many things.
Right. Yeah, this is for bronze, right?
Yeah, this is for bronze.
Right.
But they also work on ceramics, glass, and wax, actually.
So in order for them to graduate, do they have to learn all the forms, like bronze, mosaic?
But we have different courses. So this is the course in which they study metals, ceramics, glass, and waxes.
Okay.
The other materials are studied by different courses. We have 5 different courses.
So for them, how long is the course?
5 years.
5 years, okay.
E ci sono pochissimi studenti, 5, non di più, per un docente.
So every class is 4 or 5 students?
4 or 5.
So not many.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have to make a test to get in. So there are more people trying to get in, but only the best ones.
Right. So can I ask you why you got into this field?
Actually, I had a very peculiar path because I was studying something else, but it was not going the way I wanted. And actually, I had a very huge passion for history, crafts, and so. And I was studying in the scientific field, so actually, I find out that this was the exact match of what I was looking for.
Okay.
And so I changed my path and I came to Florence to study conservation. And I also studied in this school.
Okay.
And then I got inside the Ministry of Culture and I was able to work here.
And then I see this is obviously you're using traditional techniques to understand, but do you also use technology in terms of restoration?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the technologies used to restore and understand how these things were made?
Okay, actually, for what concerned this peculiar path of study about metals and so on, there were several technologies that had been developed in the last years or decades, like the laser cleaning of metals. It has been developed in general since about 30 years, but the metal cleaning of historical artifacts was basically studied here for the first time.
Oh, wow, okay.
With the Gate of Paradise.
Okay.
And then after many years, we use it. It's quite not so common, but it's very, not only us use this technology, or in many cases, we started using like 3D scan and 3D printing in some cases.
Yes.
In some cases, for example, to replicate some parts that are missing. And with that kind of technology, we can be sure to replicate even the closer details of these parts.
Right, pieces that can fit exactly, right.
And also avoiding inventing, like if we have like a right hand of a statue and we need to make the left hand, normally this is not done, but we can switch the hand.
Not mirror it, right?
Yeah, we can mirror it and not like replicate by hand. That can be tricky. We can invent something wrong. In that case, it's better, like with the decoration is even better, of course. And we use a lot computer, and also we have the scientific lab that has a lot of technology for making analysis about materials and such. So there is also a lot of tradition and technology together.
Okay.
Anche per controllare gli effetti del lavoro che fanno, per cui dalle immagini multispettrali alle scansioni che individuano le componenti, tutto è seguito dal punto di vista scientifico. Lavorano con le mani, ma controllati con questi strumenti.
And you know, AI is a very hot topic nowadays. Has AI been useful in terms of restoration?
Sì, è usata e può essere utile in vari modi, ma come supporto. L'intelligenza artificiale, per esempio, permette di fare confronti molto esatti, molto rapidamente, oppure di prefigurare gli esiti finali. Si possono creare quelli che si chiamano digital twin, dei gemelli delle opere, per studiare e immaginare il progredire del degrado e intervenire prima che avvenga.
So do you think you are technicians or are you artisans also? Because it's clearly you're learning a skill here. You're learning a technique to understand for research purposes, but you're actually also learning, you know, how to make art also.
Sì. Siamo più tecnici che artisti, noi dobbiamo mantenere quello che è la traccia originale senza apportare nulla di personale.
Io credo che il mestiere del restauratore richieda una grandissima creatività, ma di un tipo particolare. Devono capire l'intenzione dell'opera, conoscere la materia e trovare le soluzioni, e lì sta la creatività, per risolvere i problemi. Loro sono al servizio dell'idea dell'artista.
Is there many people applying and only 5 got in, or is okay? Okay, so each year only 5 can get in. How many people apply per year?
The last year, I think there are less, about 20 per sector. But before they were more. Like when I did the test, we were about 60. But in the past years, there were like hundreds of people.
Do you find the younger generation is less and less interested in this, or is it come in different waves? I'm curious. Yeah, I want to know why you're so interested in doing this. Is it love for your country's art? Is it love for preservation? Is it love for research or history? Where does your inspiration come from?
I think we all love art, of course, but maybe not only like history of art, just also the practical part. And so we wanted also to use our hands and our mind, of course, to help conserve and preserve, of course, our cultural heritage, which is, of course, really important for the world, not only for us. And so this school can match perfectly the theory of art, but also the practical part, and also in an ethical way.
It's refreshing to hear, because I feel like a lot of Gen Z kids, are you millennial or Gen Z? Gen Z, right? Gen Z are not so interested in the past. not so interested in these things, but it's really refreshing, and it makes me happy to see people that care about your history and your cultural heritage. It's very important. Yes. The process of restoration, when you look at something that you need to restore, where do you start?
Si comincia studiando e ricercando, quindi conoscere perfettamente la storia dell'oggetto, fare esami tecnici, scientifici, per capire di che cosa è fatto, che problemi ha.
Okay.
Solo dopo si comincia a intervenire, ma quando si è capito qual è il problema da risolvere.
When you start actually working, the first part is not actually starting to make something, but observe in order to understand the object, because the object can tell you a lot of things. And so you can spend like days or weeks even observing, trying to understand what happened to the object, because some things are not like you can understand them just like waiting for the object to tell you somehow that happened.
Is there, because when I go and I go to Rome and I see these beautiful architecture and things, and I touch and I feel a connection. I feel a connection to the history, to the art, to the hands that made these things. What is that like for you to be the restorer when you're touching it every day, and you're feeling it every day? Is there some kind of spiritual enlightenment that you get out of working on something like this?
Yeah, I think so, because this is one of the main reasons that I do the restorer, because I can touch things that people can't. But actually, in some cases, it's very special to when, for example, when you're working with some kind of objects and you start cleaning, you get that idea that you are the first one looking at something after centuries or 1,000 years. Or when you, in some cases, for example, knowing the technique, it may happen that at the point you understand that you are handling an object the same way who made it was handling it. Like once I was working on a ceramic, and I took the object and I find out that I had my finger were in the exact point in which the artisan was holding it while it was working on it. And in those moments it's very
emotional,
special and emotional, because I think it's part. You are not doing this for money.
Yes. Yeah.
You are doing this because you like
for
what
the
you are
love, for
doing.
the passion.
And so I think it's part of the process.
Ma è così, ci sono per esempio fasi del restauro, un dipinto in cui attraverso le analisi si vedono le fasi nascoste e si ricostruisce il processo creativo dell'artista. Questo è impagabile.
Ciao, scusami, sono passato in zona di qua, cercavo le vigne, ho visto questa bellissima cantina e insomma mi piace un sacco e volevo venirti a conoscere. Alessandro, piacere. Quindi oggi ero un po' incuriosito perché comunque questa zona è piena di vigne, ma qual è il momento corretto per appunto iniziare la raccolta del vino per il bianco e per il rosso?
Guarda, allora in realtà dobbiamo suddividere la cosa in due aree principali.
Okay.
Sicuramente la raccolta delle uve a bacca bianca e la raccolta delle uve a bacca rossa. Generalmente in questa zona, oramai in una abbastanza anticipata, parliamo comunque di un periodo che si svolge dalla seconda settimana di agosto fino alla prima di settembre per quanto riguarda l'uva a bacca bianca.
Okay.
Dopodiché a partire dalla terza settimana di settembre fino ad arrivare ad ottobre inoltrato raccogliamo le uve a bacca rossa.
Okay.
Diciamo che deve essere una buona alternanza tra periodi di pioggia, sole e temperatura, però non c'è mai una ricetta precisa.
Poi vedo che appunto qua in questa bellissima esposizione hai tantissimi tipi di vino.
Sì,
vai a vedere un attimo.
Diciamo, noi offriamo comunque la selezione che va a toccare i principali areali italiani, dal Piemonte al Veneto, ovviamente la Toscana, ma ciò che ci interessa maggiormente è il nostro areale, ovvero il Morellino di Scanzano. Morellino di Scanzano è oramai un vino che fa parte della cultura italiana già a partire dalla metà degli anni del Novecento. Assolutamente abbiamo un cavò dove vengono praticamente conservate le etichette più prestigiose di vino a livello appunto italiano, ma non solo, perché parliamo comunque di Francia, parliamo di Spagna e di altre zone molto importanti evocate dal vino. Scanzano, la riserva 2022 prodotta dalla cantina Rocca Pesca. Qui stiamo parlando di un singolo cru, quindi un vino che proviene da una delle migliori zone di produzione di tutto l'areale del Morellino di Scanzano. Qui siamo a località I Gaggioli, a circa 380 metri sul livello del mare. Si fa sentire e lo si percepisce in maniera notevole il fatto di avere l'esposizione a nord-est significa prendere il sole unicamente la mattina. Quindi grande verticalità, una grande affilatura della struttura proprio del vino, quindi grande freschezza, un vino estremamente elegante, veramente molto molto buono.
Questo, si è mai provato a utilizzare il vino per fare un gelato?
Allora, guarda, no, però credo che sia un'ottima idea, perché comunque ha una struttura aromatica notevole, importante, e quindi secondo me ci si può lavorare e credo che si possa ottenere anche un buon lavoro.
Quest'acqua è magica, particolare, fa bene alle ossa, fa bene ai muscoli, fa bene alla pelle, fa bene al respiro. Già oltre 2000 anni fa era conosciuto. I popoli antichi, diciamo, portavano qui le persone un po' malate, un po' che stavano male, per curarle. Particolare per lo zolfo. Ora vi faccio vedere una cosa particolare. L'acqua, rotolando, scorrendo, porta con sé lo zolfo che crea un calcare. Quindi il sassolino che lassù all'inizio del fiume è piccolo piccolo, rotola, scorre e fa come la palla di neve.
就 make it 可能本来是这样的，然后滚滚滚滚变成这样的。OK，
就边缘了。
Questo è più bello.
但是这个更好看。
对。
E è calda tutto l'anno. ci facciamo il bagno tutto l'anno, anche quando è freddo. Vuoi sentire?
你要感受一下吗？
是，可以。
L'acqua scorre.
Ho dato.
Hai visto?
Same.
E se ti metti seduto in fondo a una cascata, ti fa anche il massaggio.
Massage.
Alle terme, dove nasce l'acqua, ci sono delle fontanelle, si può anche bere.
可以喝的。
对，有一些喝水的
Perché è depurativa, fa bene al fegato, fa bene ai reni, fa bene a tutti. Quella c'ha lo zolfo, ma è la prima acqua. È anche proprio lo zolfo che aiuta e che fa bene, oltre a tutti i minerali. È bello, È bello. È molto molto romantico, molto scenografico.
非常浪漫的一个地方，
particolare.
很美，颜色你看那水的颜色，这个粉蓝色，然后那个瀑布的那个流下的东西就很美。
Questo quando non c'è vento, che l'aria è ferma, è tranquilla, il rumore si sente fino a 1 chilometro di distanza.
那这里的这个地方呢，是不是以前有火山嘛？
C'è c'è adesso.
现在还是有的一个
Il monte che si chiama Amiata.
Amiata.
Dentro è sempre un vulcano, ok? Attivo, piccolino, però è attivo. È un monte alto, perché siamo sui 1800 metri. Piove, nevica, l'acqua scende, si riscalda e esce. E da quando esce nel monte, fa un percorso sottoterra, impiega 37 anni per arrivare qui. Nel frattempo si arricchisce di minerali, lo zolfo lo prende su dal vulcano, poi sottoterra scorre, prende i minerali e esce qua su. Esce tanta, più di 800 litri al secondo. Quindi è un po' un viaggio nel tempo, perché te fai oggi il bagno nell'acqua che 37 anni fa era lassù.
所以流到这儿是37年的。
Travel in time.
OK. Interesting.
Fantastico.
Piano piano nel corso degli anni, dei secoli, l'acqua scorrendo ha creato tutte queste vasche, tutte queste pozze e ora ci facciamo il bagno, ci fate il bagno e porta turismo, ha fatto crescere Saturnia e quindi tante strutture si sono sviluppate, tante attività, ristoranti e è quello che poi ora ci dà da mangiare. Ora è cambiato, ora non è più l'agricoltura il punto prevalente, il punto di forza nostro e quindi siamo conosciuti nel mondo, vedete anche voi ci conoscete, per questa cosa qui, perché è pazzesca. È ritornato un po' a essere quello che era all'inizio, perché all'inizio romani e etruschi, che sono quei due popoli nostri che ci hanno poi portati a essere quello che siamo, venivano qui, si rilassavano, si curavano dopo anche le guerre, i combattimenti e quindi diciamo che il circolo poi è ritornato a richiudersi a quello che era all'inizio. E quindi questa è la parte finale, l'acqua scende, arriva in questo piccolo fosso che è qua giù di sotto, poi prosegue e un'altra 40-50 chilometri arriva al mare e finisce. Anche noi abbiamo tante terme, ma queste a livello italiano sono le più particolari.
而且知道那么多年前的人，罗马的人也这里泡过，然后现在的人也这里泡过，我觉得是很有趣的一个故事。
Dice,
对，
dai Romani
就一条线。
all'antichità fino ad oggi c'è questa linea continua di utilizzo di questo posto che è fantastica, appunto dice magico.
Sì, magico, è curativo, è rilassante perché a tempi nostri a questo punto è necessario anche un pochino di relax.
谢谢 ，Thank you very
Grazie
much.
Tommaso.
Grazie a voi.
Gentile.
Grazie a voi. Grazie, grazie.
那我们是不是现在在这里聊生意吗？
可以啊。
对，你想以后在哪里开冰淇淋店？我帮你投资啊！
哇，真的哇，好荣幸。那我得想一想，我把 business plan 先给你看一下。
对对对，除了上海之外呢，要选其他的地方嘛。
那要不在香港，先从香港开始
啊？要不这样的，我把我的咖啡的品牌跟你的冰淇淋品牌合起来，我们开一个咖啡冰淇淋店。
OK，
好不好？
哇 ，Sounds great 。应该是最近3年的我收到的最好的消息，太开心了。